Welcome to Adapt One. This week, we sit down with Brian P. Dean, an industry visionary, to explore the pressing challenges in animation and visual effects, like offshoring and AI, and uncover the opportunities that lie ahead.
I started back at Blue Sky Studios. Robots was my first animated feature film that I worked on. And since then I've worked on, I think it's 17 animated feature films, and I've worked at several major studios. And Hotel Transylvania, Spider-Verse, Robots, Ice Age movies. I've done a whole bunch of different things. And now I'm trying to take that knowledge and push it into like building my own studio where I can hopefully start making my own stuff.
And what are the challenges from transitioning to working for a studio to building your own studio and your own IP?
Well, the challenges right now are it's kind of you're much more on your own. If you're working at a big studio, you've got the support of the big studio and there's the money and resources behind it. If you're working on your own, you kind of have to build all that stuff from the ground up. So sometimes doing something that might be relatively easy at a studio, you realize, oh my God, I don't have that support in place. I don't have the technology in place. I don't have those tools. So that can be challenging. But there's a lot of that stuff that's being developed right now that you can find. There's a lot of different people out there. So you almost have like this vast network of crowdsourcing that can generate these tools and assets for you. So it's I guess there are ways to overcome these things. It's just the challenge is just trying to adapt properly and figure out the best way for your particular needs, how to best address the problems that you're facing.
Tell us a bit about your podcast you're having. What's the mission of that? Of what it is you're doing, and why are you doing that?
We've got a YouTube channel that we're right now trying to figure out exactly what type of material we want to put out there. So it's kind of to promote the work we're doing. We're trying to maybe do some tutorial type stuff, trying to do maybe some podcasts, interviews where we might get, I might start to get some friends in the industry that we can talk to. Just various different subjects that I think might be interesting and that people might be interested in hearing. Because there are a lot of changes going on right now. So there's a lot of different things that we want to try and discuss and put out on that channel. So it's basically just to kind of promote what we're doing and to try and build a community and get some interest.
Okay, and I know you've been kind of vocal about your position about AI. You have a very optimistic view about the future. Right now, I guess it's a bit of a taboo in the industry. AI is like it's going to replace all of our jobs. We're all going to be on unemployment. You seem to think the opposite, that there's opportunity. So what's your take on AI and the transformation of the industry?
Yeah, it's definitely a touchy subject right now, but my own view is I think it's going to I think it is going to be disruptive. It's going to change the industry for sure. But I think usually when that happens, like if you think about, maybe the last really big disruptive technology was, I would guess, would be the internet. That kind of changed almost every aspect of our lives and how things are done. You had entire industries pop up around that new technology. So you had businesses and industries that just didn't previously exist. You had all these new opportunities. So I think the same type of thing is going to happen with AI. It's hard to know what those industries are going to be because, like I said, they don't exist yet.
It's like who could have foreseen podcasting 15 years ago?
Exactly. I mean, the idea of anybody just pulling up a camera and a microphone and being able to broadcast to potentially millions of people was just, you could only do that if you had a show on on the network television or something. So I think in the short term, it is going to be disruptive, but I do think it's going to allow for a lot more opportunities. And there's going to be, like I said, a lot of industries that are probably just going to pop up all around it. And I think there's going to be some shifting for sure. But I don't think if somebody does end up being quote, replaced by AI, or if a company downsizes, I think that there's probably going to be a lot more opportunities that come up to replace that. So I think, like I said, I think that the disruption is going to be hopefully minimal and hopefully, kind of a short-term problem. And in the long run, we're going to see a lot more opportunities for people.
Where do you see the future? I mean, what are the technologies you think people should invest into to keep up with the change?
Yeah, that's a good question too. it really depends on what it is that you do, because the way these technologies are going to impact different people is very specific as to what it is that that person's skill set is. AI right now is affecting different things in different ways. So the best thing I think you can do is to just get your hands on these tools and see what they can do and see how it impacts you. See if maybe this is something that might enhance the way you do things, or might potentially threaten the way things are done. That maybe it's going to start to. I hate to use the word replace, because I really don't think AI is going to replace people. So I'm always hesitant to say somebody's might have a fear they're going to be replaced. Jobs might be cut, which feels like you're being replaced. But I right now, everything I've seen, I don't see AI doing the things that people can do without people. You're always going to need somebody there to kind of guide and nudge the AI. That being said, if your job gets downsized, then to you that's essentially being replaced. But like I said, I think there's going to be a lot more opportunities that arise. So I think that just exploring these technologies, seeing how they impact what it is that you do, you may be able to increase your productivity, which maybe gets you more work. So it could be, you may actually see a benefit from these things, but it's hard to really know unless you get involved with them. Right now, the biggest mistake I think people are making are to kind of ignore them altogether, because they are afraid of what it might do. And if you take that approach to it, there's no way you can position yourself, one way or another. So I think that's probably the worst thing to do.
Kind of like the ostrich reaction of burying your head in the sand and hope the danger will go away.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
I kind of agree, because usually historically every new technology has caused, like a major technology has caused a disruption, but then created more opportunities in the long term than it did before. I mean, it's not clear what the future is, but like I said, we couldn't forecast podcasting maybe 20 years ago, but now it's everywhere. Production costs will go down, so it means there's going to be more demand. More people will be able to create more content, maybe more customized content, more niche. So yeah, that's going to be very interesting. And how do you see that? Your own pipeline, for example. Do you actually are using it in your own project? How does that work for you?
Yeah, I'm using it. I use AI tools every day, and pretty much wherever I can use them, I do, because they are just like, it's a productivity booster. So. Like right now, the last few weeks I've been working a lot on the story, trying to get a series developed and trying to get the first season of this story outlined, and then rewrite the pilot with those changes. And so I use AI a lot for that. Right now I've been using Claude. And I think the misnomer that people have is that AI is going to do these, like I'll just type in a prompt and the AI is going to write my script for me. That's not going to happen. That's why I say, like, a lot of, one of the biggest things that people should do is just use these tools themselves to see what their limitations are, because they do have limitations. But the way that these tools are useful are, like writing, for example. If I have a problem with a scene, or I'm trying to figure something out, I might be stuck on something, and I might just kind of start to ask Claude a couple questions, or I might just say, hey, can you kind of summarize this scene for me, or can you kind of just lay out the big plot points, or can you tell me what the problems are? And what it will do is it'll just start to generate these responses. And what I found is that, like I said, AI is not going to give me the answer, but just in it rephrasing the problem or trying to describe the problem in a new way, it's going to use language that I might not necessarily use. And your kind of perception of things are based on language in a lot of ways. So just by reading its response, that could be just enough for me to kind of shift my perspective just a little bit. And that's all I need to see the solution and see something that I didn't see was there before. And that's usually what the process looks like when I'm using these tools. Is it very rarely gives me something that's usable, but it just, like I said, it gives me that slight perspective shift where I'm able to see a problem from a slightly different angle. And then all of a sudden now I can see how I could go about fixing this. And I do that with Midjourney. When I'm trying to develop concepts for things, I might just have it spit out a few different ideas. And like I said, they're usually all not usable, but there's little bits of each one that I like. Like, oh, I like the colors it used here, or I like the the texture that it gave this one particular part, and then I'll kind of pull those together. So it's I use it as often as I can because it does give that creativity boost. And if you're working by yourself, the best thing to do would just be have a room of people to just kind of bounce ideas off of. But if you don't have that, the next best thing is to just have these AI tools that can just kind of help you kind of bounce ideas off of those instead.
If you could have, right now with Adapt, we're trying to build something where, you could have other people that could help you, having a network of people that can help you. Is there any way that this could be useful to you?
Yeah, Adapt, that's one of these things that I think is really exciting, because I think as this industry changes, I think we're going to see a move away from the big, massive studios to smaller teams creating things. And I think one of the big challenges is going to be assembling those teams and finding those people. And so I think that a platform like this will allow you to kind of get those people on board where you can pitch your project. And that's where these AI tools can come in handy, where you can just kind of use these to generate your pitch, to kind of show people what it is that what your vision is. That's not always easy to get across if you don't have any visuals or any audio or anything that you can use. It's just kind of like waving your hands in the air trying to explain things. So I think that'll be a great way to kind of get that initial pitch idea ready, and then to show people what it is you're going after. And people could like it and they would say, hey, I want to be a part of that. That sounds like fun. And then you get a group of people together that all share an interest in this goal. And you just get up and running. And I think that's how creativity works the best, with a small group of people. I think when you get to these big, large studios, it gets to a point where the individual artist doesn't have as much of a say anymore. And you're just kind of like, you're kind of like on an assembly line doing your little part. And I think that it's just a better creative process with a smaller group of people.
Without breaking too much, any kind of NDA, can you tell us about your project you're working on without revealing too much, and when can we expect something that goes public?
It's actually a story that's kind of making fun of what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to we're working on getting
fun of us.
Oh, well, myself, because we've got a YouTube channel.
I don't mind.
No, we're like, one of the things that we want to do is build a community and get people engaged in what we're doing, and just to get the word out so we get some exposure. And one of the challenges of starting a YouTube channel is, as an early young channel, it's hard to get views, it's hard to get the subscribers, and just to kind of build up. And so this story is basically it's set in the future where everything is based on social media. So basically there's no money anymore. Like everything is traded and engaged in terms of likes and subscribers and all this stuff. It's all just a
currency.
Yeah, it's like a farcical take on social media where literally everything is about how many, your likes and subscribers kind of determines everything. So the Earth is this, represents a young YouTube channel in this massive galactic web. And they're trying to kind of boost their numbers, so to speak. And so they launched this ship to try and go generate viral content. And the name of the ship is the Hashtag. And so this story is just about the crew of the ship. And it's kind of an exploration of the culture that kind of can evolve in social media, and the superficial kind of phoniness of it, where people are just strictly after likes and views and are just kind of, doing whatever they need to do. And then the meaningful personal connection, and trying to not lose that connection that we have as individuals. So it's a story that's kind of, and it's in space. It's set in space with aliens and stuff. So it's going to have all the fun, space stuff and aliens and all that kind of cool stuff too. So I think it's going to be a fun story. And like I said, it's kind of like we're making fun of ourselves. What's that?
Yeah, it's kind of like a metaphor.
Yes, it very much is. Yeah, and like I said, we're kind of making fun of ourselves on our own little journey of trying to get likes and subscribers and stuff.
Well, we'll do our best to give you as much promotion as possible the next few months as you need it. This is part of what we're hoping to do. Well, any last word you'd like to add about your project and where you'd like to be in 5 years from now with this project and what it is you're doing, or what's your long-term vision?
Well, in 5 years, I hope that we've got 3 seasons done and we've basically wrapped up the whole story and we're on to our next one. But yeah, ultimately what we want to do, because I've got like a stack of ideas that I'd like to start making. And the goal is to eventually build something that's sustainable to, just start generating content and tell these stories. And I've got ideas for series, I've got ideas that could be features. And the idea is to just start producing them. So, I'm really excited about AI. I'm really excited about platforms like Adept, where we'll be able to find the people that we're going to need. And
what kind of people do you think you're going to need the most? Like animators, character designers? Do you have an idea of what's going to be the bulk of what it is you will need?
Right now, the biggest problem I'm having is building the assets, is getting models built and characters built, because that's kind of the stage that I'm at right now. Is that kind of building process in the pipeline. As we move forward, I'm hoping to use a lot of like motion capture and stuff like that. Although once we get to that stage, we might realize that we're going to need, more custom, like actual animators and stuff. So I think we're going to, we'll start to kind of figure that out as we move. But right now in this stage, it's a lot of just like generating the assets at the quality level that we need so that we can get like good lighting, good rendering.
Well, thank you very much for your time, and we'll talk again soon.
Okay, thanks.